Welcome back to another live workout. Today we are doing the second full body session in the Sound of Movement training block. So this is week 2, day 3 on the Train Heroic calendar if you are following along live in real time. As always, the way that these calls go, we're going to go over the outline and the overview of the session that's to come. I'm going to show you all of the exercise options and modifications, all of the variations of each of them. And then we're going to press go and run through the full 20-minute session together in real time. And as always, this is my guide here. I know that you can't read this on the recording. The overall outline and session list will be here. So pretty standard session format for this workout today. 2 rounds of warm-up movements, and then we do an upper body superset, a lower body superset, and then we also do some direct core work with a couple of rounds of a triset, 3 exercises back to back to back for the core. So we begin with some simple upper body warm-up movements. I don't have a fantastic creative name for these other than cross body slap hug things to open up the chest and shoulders. I like to switch which arm goes over top every single time, but we are doing 10 of these and then immediately moving into 10 T rotations. So those are going to be the ones where you create a T with your body like this. One arm goes into external rotation as the other goes into internal external rotation as far as you can in each direction. It's nice, slow, and controlled. 8 of these. And then we rest for 30 seconds, shake it out, and do that same thing, that same pairing back to back one more time. You can do both of those seated as well if you need to. And then we're going to get directly into the upper body work or the upper body triset. So these are going to be done back to back to back with 45. Now this is still 30 seconds of rest in between. All of these movements are 10 reps each. The triset starts with push-ups. So 10 push-ups on the floor, or as is going to be the case with all 3 of these movements, with your hands elevated. After the 10 push-ups, we immediately move into, I go into a wider base for both of these, 10 plank shoulder taps on each side. And then whether your arms are elevated or if you're on the floor, again, a little bit of a wider base than needed for the push-ups, 10 plank arm extensions on each side. And then we rest for 30 seconds. Repeat that triset one more time. That's going to be the bulk of the upper body work. Then we get into the lower body warm-up, dynamic warm-up. These can also be done seated or standing. The first one is going to be, if you need to hold on to something for balance and support, that's always fine. One foot comes off the floor, and we're doing 10 small-ish hip circles in each direction. So 10 one way, 10 the other way. Then we switch legs, do the same exact thing. And then if you're standing, you immediately move into 10 of these is right. Yep, 10. I lied. It's actually 5 and 5 on these ones. So 5 in each direction on each leg for the hip circles, and then 5 forward fold walk downs. I can get my hands all the way flat on the floor. I know that that is not common or standard. So it's really whatever active range of motion you have, starting from basically the hip crease. Start standing, hands on hips, walk it down slowly as you hinge at the hips, bend over as far as you can, down and then up is 1 rep. So 5 of those, but again, each of those movements, the hip circles, and if you go straight leg from a seated position, forward, fold, walk down, down and up, 5 and 5, resting for 45 seconds in between 2 rounds of that, as opposed to the 30 seconds of rest in the first 2 supersets. Then we get into the triset work for the legs. We are going to start with, I believe this is the first time we've done this lunge variation. This is a step up as the quote unquote standard movement. This might even be a little bit higher than I would typically go for a step up height for me, because it brings my thigh slightly above my hip crease and slightly above parallel. I can still do this. I would usually have a little bit of support anyway, but step ups like this, controlled on the descent, trying not to kick up off the back leg. You're always going to a little bit. It's impossible not to unless you are holding onto something up here and doing a step down like this. Much more challenging that way, but trying not to kick off the back leg. 8 on one leg. Oh God. In the middle of a bench if you're using one, or chair if you're using one. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Switch sides. Yeah, a lot more stable that way. And if you have or need to have something at a much lower height, this is a yoga block. I know some people don't like when I say this or recommend this, but this same height could also be replicated by maybe 4-ish books if you are able to do these step ups or step downs at a much lower height. If not, these can also be substituted with reverse lunges, or as we typically do with lunge patterns, B stance, one foot comes up into a kickstand, balance position, single leg chair squats. So it's 8, 8, 8 on one leg, 8 on the other leg. Then we're moving into a supported, so whether it's wall, table, or countertop. Hip abductions. So basically a side lateral leg lift like this, mostly using the glute here. 10 in one direction, switch, 10 in the other direction. And then we come into a squat position where we're kind of just pulsing for 15 seconds from a 3/4 squat to a half squat, or half squat position. So kind of like this at your own pace. If you need to hold on to that wall again or a table for some support, that's absolutely fine, but it's 15 seconds of that, a full minute of rest in between, and we repeat that circuit one more time. Goodness, you almost all witnessed me injure myself on live TV here. And then finally, we finish off with that core work again, a tricep that is all going to be in the same seated position on the floor or on a chair, bench, or couch if necessary. So 10, 10, 10, 10 reps of each of these 3 exercises, starting off with lounge chair, knee tucks. So just like this, slight lean back in this V position, supported with your hands here. 10 of these, and then we are doing 10 flutter kicks, which are straight legs up and down. So kind of like a scissor vertically, and then scissor kicks horizontally, switching the crossover like that. And we're resting 10 seconds before we repeat that for 2 total rounds. So it's kind of just or rather, we're doing 10 seconds in between each one of those, back to back to back to back to back, all 2 rounds with just 10 seconds in between. But again, if you don't want to or cannot get onto the floor, all of those movements can be done in a seated position from a chair, couch. Just make sure you have some space behind you, because you do have to lean back a little bit to offset the weight of your legs, no matter which movement variation you are doing. So that's the overall outline, the overall options, movement choices that we have. Get yourself situated, grab some water, make sure your bench, chair, or coffee table. My coffee table, as you all know, would never do that to me. I can't believe this bench would. Just don't stand on the end of it. Make sure it's sturdy and stable for you, or just do the lunges or B stance chair squats instead. All right, first round of the upper body warm up. These are 30 seconds of rest in between, slap hugs into T rotations. So we'll get into those. We can move through these fairly quickly, fairly low intensity here in 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make your way into that T position. These ones a little bit more slow and controlled. 1, kind of pause and hold at that end range in each side. 2, going 8 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 more. 7, 8, and 8. All right. A little bit of a rest here. I think I need it more than any of you do at the current moments, just because I'm a little bit out of breath, sweating, embarrassed even a little bit from almost hurting myself. But it's always good to have a little bit of rest so that we just don't push things too quickly. If you need to get through this more rapidly, of course you can reduce those rest times, but we're already at 20 seconds anyway. So we'll make our way back into the slap hugs again in 3, 2, and 1. 10 of these. 2, 3. Open up that chest. 4, 5, and the shoulders. Reach around as far as you can. 7, 8. Don't hit yourself on your back. Somewhat gently. 10. Open up into the T position. Pause and hold. Maybe you can get a little bit deeper into each internal and external rotated position. As always, stay in your safe, comfortable range of motion. I know that there's a lot of hypermobile people that could just keep going, and dislocate something. So definitely be aware if that's the case for you. And I have absolutely no clue what number I'm on now that I've been talking through this entire thing. That's got to be 6, 7, 8, and 8. All right, 30 seconds of rest. This time it will be beneficial to have it because now we're getting into the work. Your arms are gonna feel it at the end of this couple of minutes because we have the push-ups, plank shoulder taps, plank arm extensions, back to back to back, 10 of each. Elevate your hands as high as you need to so that you can make it through the entire thing without having to stop. So whether that be bench, chair, countertop, or even a wall. But we're going to make our way starting with those 10 push-ups in 3, 2, and 1. No major rush. Don't go too fast. 1. Nice controlled cadence. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, widen that base a little bit. Give yourself more stability. 1, 10 shoulder taps. 1, 2, brace that core. 2, 3, 3. We're making that core work today. 4, 4. You'll feel it by the end of the session. 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10. 10. Now arm extensions. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. Over halfway. 7, 7, 8, 8, 9. Last one on each side. 10 and 10. All right. 30 seconds of rest. If we can do the next round, final round of these at the same elevation, that's fantastic. If not, and you need to elevate a little bit higher, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to elevate my hands for the second one. And I'm going to place them in the middle of this bench. Maybe I'll even slide it over here so it's more level. I don't know if that helped or not. But that is 30 seconds there. Goes by quickly, right? Make your way back into that push-up position. Hands elevated for me this time. 10, 10, and 10. Begin now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Again, widen that base a little bit. 10 taps. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7. Arms should be burning a little bit. 8, 8, 9. Maybe that's just me. 9, because I already did a bunch of push-ups today. 10, 10. Plank arm extensions. 1. Feet should stay in the same position. 2, 3. This is the last thing we're doing for the arms, shoulders, chest. So let it burn. Halfway through these. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10. All right, 30 seconds of rest. Grab some water, shake it out. Your arm work is done. Now we get into the lower body before we finish it off with the core. So hip circles, 5 in each direction, standing or seated. Then forward fold walks, standing or seated, 5 of those. I'll do the seated versions first this time. Why not? 30 seconds, come and goes. Quickly. All right, I'm gonna start with my right leg. 5 hip circles, leg circles. Opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of keep that core braced while you're doing this the whole time. 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're standing or seated, forward fold walk downs. Again, hinging at the hips. Try not to round completely at that lower back. As far as you can, walk yourself back up. 1. Back down. If you can get all the way to your toes or the floor, that is great. If not, that's okay too. 2. Back down. Should feel some tension, some lengthening. 3. In the hamstrings, even the calves a little bit potentially here. 4. And back up. 5. All right, a little bit longer of a rest period this time. Usually moving the legs around, bigger muscle groups. They weigh more than our arms. More energy, effort is required to move them. More rest required to recover from it. Maybe not so much in these warm-up movements, but when we get into the step-ups, lunges, those things do require more for sure. So about 15 more seconds. I'll do the standing versions or variations this time. One more round of this, and then we get into the lower body work, step-ups, hip abductions, squat pulses. We'll begin the leg circles again in 4, 3, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit of balance work here too if you're not holding onto something. 2, 3, 4, 5. Work on that ankle, toe, balance and coordination. 3, 4, 5. Especially stopping and switching directions, stopping momentum. 3, 4, 5. Standing forward folds or forward fold walk downs. Walk your feet as far down as you can. And then back up. Again, a little bit of lengthening, tension, tightness. You should feel it back here. Back up. 2, if you can see on video or on camera, my lower back is never completely flat up here. I always just kind of naturally have a little bit of rounding. Some of that is kind of from like the musculature that I have there. But as long as you are actively trying to hinge at the hips and not just bending over like that, it's okay. I believe that's 4. One more time. Walk your way down as far as you can. Walk your way back up. And 5. All right, 45 seconds of rest. Do I trust this bench? Yeah, I think it's fine. It's just one of those things. I'll never step on the end of it again. You would do at that end too. Always in the middle. All right. 1 sip of water. 20 more seconds. Nice and warmed up. Let's work a little bit, get those glutes, quads burning by the end of these squat pulses. Again, it's 8 step-ups on each leg, 10 hip abductions on each side, 15 seconds of squat pulses. So whichever leg you're beginning with, nice, slow and controlled on these. Again, remember, try not to bounce off that bottom leg as high as you comfortably or safely can, or as low as you need to. We'll begin in 3, 2, and 1, 2. If you can keep up with this pace or this cadence, that's fantastic. 3, but absolutely not required. 4, 5, 6, 7. One more on this side. 8. These are obviously awesome for balance coordination as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, making our way into the standing hip abductions or lateral raises. 8 in each direction. Pause at the top for a second. 3, 4. You should really feel that glute contract at the side here. 6, 7, 8. Switch that other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 15 seconds of squat pulses. Don't have to go super fast on these. You're just staying in this active tension, constant tension range of motion, so you're never coming fully up and you're never kind of sitting down either. You're just bouncing. Half squat to 3/4 squat. 3, 2, and take a rest. Full minute of rest here. You should be feeling it. I feel it mostly in my glutes, but I am fairly good at biasing what I'm working in a lunge pattern, step up pattern. You'll probably feel it in your quads as well. You're working your entire leg, always, no matter what. But depending on positioning, how hinged over you are at the hip, and how much or how little you bend at the knee, you can certainly bias lunges and squats to posterior chaining glutes more so than quads. But always working all of it, no matter what. If you're squatting, you're lunging, you're working both. But with those hip abductions, to really get if you're squeezed at the top, I'm feeling it. But again, I worked out my legs yesterday, so a little bit of soreness in there that's flaring up and activating. 10 more seconds. I will do reverse lunges this time, again, just to show you the variations that you're able to perform. Same cadence, 8 on each side. We begin those again in 3, 2, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, you can be doing B stance chair squats in place of these if you need to. Switch to that other side. 1, 2, 3. And if I'm going a little bit quicker than your pace, that's absolutely fine as well. Take your time. Don't ever rush through the movements. 3, 2, and 8. 10 hip abductions on each side. Big squeeze at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right into 15 seconds. Squat pulses. Let it burn. After this, we just work the core a little bit. About 2 minutes of work left, I would say, in that tricep 2 times through, and then you're done. 3, 2, and take a rest. 1 minute. Get this out of the way now. Lounge chair, knee tucks, scissor kicks, or rather flutter kicks, then scissor kicks. Again, all can be done seated as well. 10 reps of each, 10 seconds of rest in between each, but we're doing each one back to back to back to back to back to back. So all 2 rounds, all with 10 seconds of rest in between each one. Just boom, 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 boom. So like I said, about 2-ish minutes of work to get through it. Minimal rest in between. You'll feel it in your core, but you'll be done quickly. So you've got about 15 seconds of rest. Find your way into that open space on the floor or seated, and whichever seat you're going to be doing these in. We will begin the 10 knee tucks in 5, 4, 3, 2, and nice, slow and controlled. Well, not slow, but controlled. 2, 3, 4, 5, knee correct. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds of rest. Basically just enough to let some of that tension go away. A couple deep breaths. And there's 10 seconds there. So 10 flutter kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, 10 seconds of rest. Then we get into 10 scissor kicks, alternating which foot goes on top over time. And then we're done with the first round. Go ahead and begin those now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds of rest. I'm going to make my way up to the seated variations. I honestly don't know if these are significantly easier or not, but does prevent you from having to get on the floor, that's for sure. 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You should feel it now. 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds of rest. You'll feel it in your core, hip flexors, maybe even through your lower back because your entire core is bracing to keep yourself in that V position. 10 flutter kicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds of rest. Last round. 10 scissor kicks, and then you're done. In 3, 2, and let's wrap it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There it is, the sound of movement, day 2. As always, take what you need, do what you can. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.